excited to be with you this evening and also to be part of the Guidely Guides group. I am extremely excited. Let me close this, the message. And also, I am delighted to be with you this evening as well. Thank you for taking the time to join us at this time. I know it's weekend and also leading to the Halloween activities. I thank you for that. A background, I was born and raised in Haiti. I've been in Utah for 35 years. And I am husband, father, 6 children, 13 grandchildren. When people say at the end of the day, Ilens, what is your greatest accomplishment? I would have to say my family and wife, children and grandchildren, and the posterity that will come. Background also in engineering, business, and also I do leadership coach, business coach, and coaching, and also strategy. So that's what I'm going to share with you right now so we can have time to dive into the topic for today.
Thank you, Ilens.
You're welcome. Do I have the mic from now on?
You do, all yours.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share.
21 minutes, go.
Yeah, start right now. I hope you can see the screen. And I forget to mention as well, also, I am an author. I published 2 books. One of them is a business book, The 5 Secret Fears of Failing in Business and How to Easily Overcome Them. It's around for your information. And today we are here to talk about boundaries. Let me ask you a question, and you can share your thought, give me thumbs up. When you hear the word boundary, what comes to your mind? I'll say first, give me one word. I don't know if the mic is open for everybody, and just even in the chat, share one word with me when you hear the word boundary.
So we have participants usually come in muted, but if you'd like interaction, happy to let you lead that.
Let's open it for a minute or two there.
Yeah, feel free to unmute.
Yeah, Karen, can I start with you?
Yes, when I think of boundaries, I think of possibilities. There was a time when boundaries I thought were limited, but I get to be able to stretch out my boundaries. So it's the infinite possibilities and taking care of myself at the same time.
Beautiful. I love the way you put it. A lot of people have the mindset when they hear the word boundary is limitation. I love when you see it as infinite possibilities and taking care of yourself. One more person, one more thought. Christopher, what are your thoughts on that?
The complete opposite, a box.
Okay.
A confined box.
Yeah, a lot of people also, that's how they see it, as a confined box. During my presentation, I'm going to expand that. We're gonna get out of the box and we're going to move into the infinite possibilities and opportunities. That's what, like, for example, let me increase that so we can see it. I don't know, because of sharing, it's not doing it. Okay.
Yep, looks good.
Yeah. Okay. Now we are looking at a picture of water. Water is one of the most important things and resources that we have in life, right? We love it, we need it, we cannot be in this life without water. However, water is the most inconsistent things in life. We're looking at this inundation right now, and we've seen it at hurricanes with many examples of that. And we say, man, we don't want to be in this situation. So that's what happened with water when there was no boundary. There was no colonization. Water is not a good thing for us. Actually, it causes a lot of damage and grief for us when we don't have that. So a simple definition of boundary is a line of demarcation. Another way also, it indicates where our rights begin and also where they end. In society, we need to have these boundaries. Otherwise, we're going to be piling on top of each other and create a lot of conflicts in the world. I'm going to talk about the leader's responsibility. It is our responsibility. All of us, adults, parents, in our organization, we have this responsibility to, one, set the boundary lines and parameters. It's not really the box. so people can know where they are and how they can grow, and also to communicate and educate. And the other one is to support and reinforce the boundaries. And I'm going to talk about example at home, in businesses, and in the community, why these three things are extremely important. I love this example because of all the sports, soccer is mine. I grew up playing soccer, and I'm still a licensed coach. I don't coach anymore. So I can, this is the example. We are seeing lines right now, and each one of them has a very unique definition. It creates the boundary so the players know their limits. And also, if we are moving right there, there is the limit for the goalie. I'm not going to take a long time about teaching about soccer, but right there are certain things the goalie can do here, and there are certain things the players cannot do when they are there. The circle also has a meaning as well. But in addition to the physical boundary, there are also some principles. The players need to know the rules of the game. The coaches need to know the rules of the games, and the refs who are there to reinforce the rules, they need to understand the rules. If a ball is played outside of this boundary, we call it's outside. I'm not going to talk about offside because that could be a very difficult thing to explain in the short amount of time. So we are talking about the physical line and also the principles behind boundary. I want to share some benefits of boundary. I put on a few, but I want the participant also to share with me some of the benefits that you have enjoyed when you're in a situation or an environment where there are boundaries. One of them I put right now, structure. It gives us structure. We know everything where we are, and it gives us its foundation. It gives us also power. When we go back to water, when you can canalize the water, it gives it more power, more strength, and it can even turn it into current. It gives us also safety and security because we know our limits and we know someone else's limits, and it helps us work better as society. And also something we don't think of is freedom. Boundary give us freedom because we know our limits, we know someone else's limits, and we know if we need to expand it, what we need to do. It gives us freedom. Some of the time we think it constrains us. Well, the wrong boundary can do that, but the right boundary that is set the right way, communicate the right way, and with proper education, it really frees us instead of really limit us. It gives us satisfaction. I just put only 5 there. There are more on my list, but I would love to hear from you. Based on your experience, what are some of the benefits you have enjoyed from being in a boundary environment instead of boundaryless? Jerry, may I call on you? I'm an old school teacher type of thing, so I call on people.
Sure, go ahead.
And we are friends here.
Yes.
Any benefits you have enjoyed in your life in relationship to boundary?
In relationship to boundary, I guess in family, everybody has to know their boundaries. As far as I live with my daughter and my grandchildren, and we kind of live in a happy, harmonious, knowing our boundaries as far as where mommy sets the rules for the kids. And even though I'm the grandparent, I have to respect her boundaries, and it works well with us in the family situation, and also in work situation. You have your boundaries, and that works because everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and it keeps everybody, in alignment with each other, and it just works. So that's kind of my take on it.
That is a beautiful take. Thank you for sharing. Talk about happy, keeps us as a family happy. Harmony, there's harmony there also. You use another word that I love. I'm going to add to my list, alignment. When you talk about the boundaries on both sides, you say, as grandparents, I need to understand my boundary with my children as well. If we don't understand that, we can create discordance in the relationship with the members of our family. You see, even as grandparent, I need to understand the boundary of my grandchildren. That was so beautiful. I'm glad I called on you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa, you're next, and then we're gonna move on. What's some benefits you enjoy in life in relationship to boundaries?
Yeah, it was the harmony thing. Absolutely. You made me think of a situation with my mom many years ago when she was dating her current husband, that there was a boundary cry. It was like a too much information. No, I don't need to hear that. So, but I also am thinking about on my professional side, I work with when we have constraints in the business, and when we know what they are, it really frees us up to create flow. So the moment you said that is the moment I started thinking about flow.
I love that. That's another key word there, flow. You know, even with the water example that I started with the boundaries, we got a better flow, a direction, and also speed, right? It gives us speed. Beautiful example from both of you. Now let's start. I mentioned briefly types of boundaries and physical and principle. I use the example of the soccer field as a physical boundary. We're going to have some other example. A principle could be like, for example, when you meet someone for the first time, you carry, as a civil person, you got to understand that, okay, what boundary that I should not cross, right? Okay, if it's an opposite gender, you may want to extend your hand first to see, before you go just hug them all over the place. Right now with the COVID, whether you like it or not, we talk about a 6 feet distance. There are some principles that can be used as boundary. It's not only physical, but there are also some principles behind it as well. Talking about example of boundary. Okay, I started with the things that sometimes we may not think of being an example of boundary. Employee handbook is an example of boundary. Many organizations don't have that. So therefore, the employees don't know how to navigate within the system, within the organization. Job description is an example of boundary. Processes and systems is an example of boundary. If you want them to perform well and also to speed up the process, you got to create processes and systems to help them. Otherwise, an example I like, and I've heard it again, many places will say, you know what, why don't you fly at the seat of your pants? I laugh, I say, just make sure so there is a nice belt holding the pant. Otherwise, there might be some other unpleasant situation. It's our responsibility to create those boundaries for people. Contracts and relationship agreement, it establishes the boundaries. In my relationship with Guy Lee, we have a contract, we have an agreement to know where I am. It gives me the peace of mind, the freedom. It also enhances the relationship as well. Now we're going to talk about the physical one, which we understand very well, the fence, the box, and the physical limitation, the borders. Another one is the sign. You can go to a place, you say, do not cross. They are warning you that you might don't go over that and do not cross. So today I want to share with you, and after that, I'm gonna have room for more questions and about the boundary and what we can learn from that as well. To this point, any questions, any other example of boundary you can share with me, and I want to write an article about that. I wrote one in the past. I want to expand. You share some wonderful ideas, happiness, harmony, alignment, flow. What's some other example of boundary that you can think of, either at home? Go ahead.
Lisa shared in the chat today, there's a lot of attention paid to consent, which I think is very relevant.
I love that. Consent. Okay. If you don't respect boundary, if you don't know them, then therefore you cannot understand the concept. In any relationship, if we're gonna have a great environment, we have to respect the consent of the other person. Lisa, I loved it. I love that. And I wrote it down and I'm going to add it to my list. Any other example of boundaries? Karen, please.
You know, in my work as a spiritual therapist, confidentiality is really important. So that's a boundary for me. And it's my word. I make an agreement with the client that I'm not going to share anything about the session or even that I'm working with them. So that is a boundary that is very powerful for my clients.
I love that, confidentiality. And with that also comes trust. Another benefit that boundary will give you is trust, because we know everybody understands what they need to do and their limits, and also it gives us that trust. It makes it more comfortable for your clients to work with you because they know they can trust you. You're going to respect their consent, right, Lisa? And the thing that they trust, the information that they trust to share with you. Thank you. One more person. Leanne, good to have you. If you have a thought, you're welcome to. I just wanted to acknowledge you as a participant there. Any thoughts on that?
Thank you. No, I'm just, I'm always trying to set boundaries for myself, and I'm never successful in following through on them.
Okay.
So that's like, I look at boundaries as very positive and beneficial, but I never seem to like, it's like, I don't know what I'm missing that I can't follow through on what I decide.
Let me pause right now, and then we have a wonderful audience there, very intelligent people. The question I'm going to ask, and then we will invite the participant also to join. Why do you think that is a problem for you?
I don't know. I can't. I wish I could figure that one out.
Okay. Any thoughts? Any wisdom from our wonderful group? I might call it even a panel. Have you worked with people who struggle with boundaries, even their own boundaries?
Well, with my work, my career as a nutritionist and counselor, and guiding people on how to eat, I give them boundaries all the time. I mean, I help them to decide their own boundaries, and they follow them. When it comes to food, I guess I can follow my boundaries, but other things in my life, I don't know. Maybe I don't like the discipline aspect of it.
That's some of the benefits also of boundary. It helps us to be disciplined. Question again. I like, as a coach, I ask more questions than giving answer. Why do you think the discipline part of it is a struggle for you?
So I can share that I've throughout my life had boundaries issues because I had a gain every time I broke a boundary. I got approval from the other side. I was able to be power over somebody else. So there was some gain for me, and the origin for that is we can go to my family trauma and my ancestral trauma, but at some point I realized that there was a gain for me for not respecting my own boundaries and respecting others' boundaries.
If you're getting benefits from not doing something or for doing something, it's going to be hard for you to change, right? It's that type of mindset. And also it's our attitude that also may contribute to the behavior. If we see boundary as a negative thing or as a box, so therefore it's hard for us to really respect it. But if we see it as unlimited possibilities, as Karen put it right at the beginning, so we are comfortable with it. Because, by the way, we all live in a boundary world. Our house has boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got at least 4 corners, right? And we don't allow people to come into our space. And let me know when I have 5 minutes left, Shannon. We don't allow.
You have 5 minutes left, Ilens.
Very good, very good. We don't allow people to invade our space, right? So therefore, we all live in a boundary world, right? So I just want to leave that thought with you. And Leanne, I would love to continue that thought with you. I am your friend, and then we can talk more and we can learn from each other. But I'm gonna move with this one, the last one I mentioned, relationship agreement. I get this one from my good friend, a mentor and coach, and also good friend, Steve Schallenberger, who is the author of Becoming Your Best. And then he shared this. It's something that he lives by, and I do the same, is relationship agreement. Just to give you an example. When we can have it with our spouses, our children, partners, and also the members of our community, our employees, employers, the list is long. But I'm going to share 4 things that if you include in that relationship agreement is going to help you gain the benefits that we talk about of boundary. One of them is a vision. Define the vision clearly and communicate the vision to the people. Say why we need to do this one. And that's going to help also with conflict resolution. If we're having a disagreement, we can go back to say, you know what? Let's go back to the main vision, why we are in this together. But at the beginning, we need to define what that vision here is. And the other one is the reward. Sometimes we forget that at the beginning to talk about the reward. What's in it for you and what's in it for me? We can do that. I do that with my children. You want certain benefits. You want me to sign a check and give you money. Let's have this relationship agreement. Vision, what we're going to accomplish, what will be the reward for you, what will be the reward for me, and also set clear expectation. One thing I've learned through all my life, and also as a professional, you cannot have satisfaction without clear expectation. When you can set clear expectation, then you have something that you can measure, you can have something that you can review, and you can always go back. Then when you are doing, could be a review with the person, or you may need to have a disciplinary action, you can go back to say, we had a vision clearly defined. We talk about what's in it for you, and we talk about the expectation. Now we can go back. How we meeting those expectations or not? I can promise you, and I've observed that many times, a lot of leaders really fail in this area. It's that simple. And then the last one is accountability. If you're going to hold people accountable, they have to know for what. I always tell people, if you're going to hold me accountable at the end, I want to know at the beginning what I'm going to be accountable for. Don't wait for the end. So these are the things that I have prepared to share with you in terms of boundary, the benefits, the definition, and also some of example of boundary. I love boundary all my life. You can talk to my parents, and at the same time also, I know how to negotiate to expand the boundary when I need to, because I know what they are. I respect them. Then when it's needed, I know how to negotiate to expand my boundary, the limits. So I may have 1 minute. I'm going to ask this question. I love that. What is the takeaway for you, and what you're going to do? And I'll close with that statement. It's what we do with what we know that makes the difference. Otherwise, the information and the knowledge is not that important. So if I can take 30 seconds, what is it that you take away, and what you're going to do with that?
In the chat?
Friends?
In the chat, or yeah.
I like to hear. So if that's okay with you.
My takeaway, I'll start us off, is harmony. Boundaries create harmony. And I really enjoyed that word and the feeling that comes with that word.
Same here. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Karen?
I like the idea of this relationship agreement, that there's a vision. I haven't thought about it that way, but certainly there is. That's my takeaway. Thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Christopher, we're going to go down the list according to the list I can see.
Yeah, for me, I like boundaries because when I exceed those boundaries, it makes me feel really good. Like something as simple as, driving 85 miles an hour instead of 65, pushing that boundary for I guess a very simple example.
Yeah, You must be a great driver. You're keeping yourself safe and everybody else safe.
Fantastic driver.
Okay.
Fantastic.
That's good. And you know also, if you stop, you know what the ticket might be, right?
I don't think about tickets. That's why I don't get them.
Okay, Lisa.
My takeaway is to make it explicit when a boundary is important.
To make it clear and
Mhm.
communicate that. If we're gonna have a boundary, it better be important and we need to make it explicit.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's not good to have it. It creates more harm than really helping people. Lee.
Well, I was looking at this relationship agreement and I was thinking how I could apply those aspects to my making a boundary with myself.
Beautiful.
I think that's what's missing.
Amen. Beautiful. With that in mind, with those thoughts, I am going to conclude. It was my privilege, and I am extremely delighted to be part of this wonderful group. And thank you again for your time and for listening and participating today. Back to you, Shannon.
Thank you so much, Ilens.
Yeah, it was awesome. I got to chime in, and I feel like I want to take one of the things that you made me think about is what's the underlying need for the boundary? Like what is beyond and connecting with that underlying need when boundaries are being set. And the other thing that I also took from this, and I share this with Karen, is the vision, is really the higher purpose of boundaries when they're being set. It's actually not to limit, but rather to allow.
I love that. Another keyword, not to limit, but to allow.
Right.
Man, I'm going to listen to this again and when I write the article.
You have free access. You're going to...
The recording will be in the portal. Thank you, Ilens. And tomorrow we have Cynthia Kane, who is the author of Communicate Like a Buddhist, also the founder of the Intentional Communication Institute. She is dedicated to helping men and women change their communication routines so they feel in control of their words and can express themselves and maybe their boundaries in a way that makes them feel understood.
Well, maybe we'll learn how to communicate boundaries.
Right. So we will see you all tomorrow. On your way out, let's unmute, say goodbye, and think about your word for the day. We're gonna, at the end of these 21 days, do something really fun with the takeaways from each day. So put it in the chat or write it in your journal, and let's unmute and say goodbye.
And Larry, it's great to see you. We missed you yesterday.
We did.
I completely spaced it out and missed it. I'm sorry.
Listen to the recording. You'll enjoy it. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Enjoy the concert.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.